The Harlow family never believed in curses until they inherited the old Blackwood farmhouse in rural Vermont. Sarah and Michael, along with their two children, Emma and little Jack, arrived on a cold October evening, fog rolling across the dead cornfields like ghostly fingers. The house stood alone, miles from civilization. 3 stories of rotting wood and shattered windows. It looked like something that had crawled out of a nightmare. But it was theirs now, left by Michael's estranged Aunt Margaret, who died under mysterious circumstances.
Mom, I don't like it here.
Mom, I don't like it here, Emma whispered, clutching her jacket as they stepped inside. The floorboards groaned beneath their feet. The air smelled of mildew and something else, something copper and wrong. That first night, Jack heard scratching in the walls. By the second night, Emma saw shadows moving in her room, tall, impossibly thin figures that vanished when she turned on the light. On the third day, Michael found the basement door hidden behind the kitchen pantry. It had been sealed with chains and a padlock, now rusted through. "Don't open it," Sarah pleaded, but curiosity won. The basement stairs descended into absolute darkness. Michael's flashlight barely penetrated the gloom. And there, on a stone altar surrounded by dozens of melted candles, sat a book bound in what looked horribly like human skin. The Crimson Covenant. The title was burned into the cover. Michael opened it. The pages were filled with symbols, incantations written in blood-red ink, and disturbing illustrations of rituals. On the last page, fresh as if written yesterday, was Aunt Margaret's name, crossed out in black. Beneath it, their families' names were now appearing, letter by letter, as if written by an invisible hand. That night, everything changed. Jack woke, screaming. When Sarah rushed to his room, she found him standing on his bed, head tilted at an unnatural angle, speaking in a voice that wasn't his own, deep, ancient, filled with malice. "She promised us. The covenant must be fulfilled. Blood for power, power for blood." His eyes had turned completely black. Emma wasn't better. She'd locked herself in the bathroom, carving symbols into her arms with a piece of broken mirror, the same symbols from the book. She smiled at Sarah, with a face that wasn't quite her own anymore. "The witch wants what she's owed, Mommy. Aunt Margaret tried to stop the ritual, but we're going to finish it." Desperate, Sarah searched the house and found Margaret's hidden journal. The truth was horrifying. Generations ago, the Blackwood family had made a deal with a witch named Eliza Crane. In exchange for prosperity, every third generation would offer a blood sacrifice. Margaret had refused to complete the ritual, so the curse passed to the next bloodline, the Harlows. The ritual required the sacrifice of innocence before the new moon 3 days away. If completed, the witch's spirit would be reborn, granting the family dark powers. If refused, everyone in the bloodline would die in agony. "We have to burn the book," Michael shouted. But when they returned to the basement, the book was gone. And standing in the shadows was a figure tall, impossibly thin, with skin like ash and eyes that burned red. Eliza Crane had been waiting for decades. The witch moved through the house like smoke, her presence warping reality. Walls bled, shadows became solid. The children, fully possessed now, dragged Sarah and Michael to the basement, their small hands supernaturally strong. They were chained to the altar. The Crimson Covenant floated in midair, pages turning on their own. Jack and Emma began chanting in a language dead for centuries. The ritual circle glowed with hellish light. Eliza's form solidified, her skeletal fingers reaching for Sarah's throat. "Your blood will make me whole again. Your souls will feed my power for eternity." Michael, fighting against his chains, remembered something from Margaret's journal. The witch could only be stopped by willingly burning the covenant, but the one who burned it would take the curse upon themselves. With a final surge of strength, he broke free, grabbed the book, and threw himself into the ritual fire. The book ignited. Michael's screams filled the basement as ancient magic consumed him, but it worked. The ritual circle shattered. Eliza shrieked, her form dissolving into ash and shadow. The possession broke. Emma and Jack collapsed, gasping themselves again. But Michael was gone. Where he had stood, only a pile of ash remained, with his wedding ring gleaming in the center. The witch was banished. The curse was broken. But at what cost? 6 months later, Sarah and the children had moved far away to California, where the sun always shone and the shadows weren't quite so dark. But Emma still saw her father sometimes, standing at the edge of her vision, and Jack heard him whispering in his dreams, "I'm still here, watching over you, but I'm not alone." In the ruins of the Blackwood farmhouse, locals reported seeing lights in the basement, hearing chanting, smelling smoke. And on foggy nights, if you look closely at the cornfields, you can see them dancing, dozens of thin, shadowy figures, moving in circles around a fire that never goes out. The covenant was broken, but the darkness never truly dies.